Hello, welcome everyone. I am Phoenix61 and today we are actually doing a tutorial about commanders in World of Warships Legends. So I think there's a lot to cover, but I think this will be beneficial if you're both a new player and if you've been playing the game for a while and are struggling to rank up commanders. There's some tips and tricks in here as well for those more advanced players as well. But yeah, just wanted to kind of put out, with this being a free-to-play game, it is kind of a situation where you get a lot of people new to the game, and then some people give up on it, or, so it works like that. So this is a destroyer, and this is donated by this triangle symbol up in the top left that we just had a little finger pointing at, right? And if it's a new ship, you may have upgrades in there. Don't forget to go in and purchase those upgrades. I have done that before. But yes, if they are available, choose what you think is best for you, right? But yes, and then here you would have to assign a commander to the ship, right? And there are 4 different types of ships in the game right now. I'm going to select all of them, so you hold down the X button to adjust those filters, right? So this shows all the commanders I have for this specific country. This ship is a Pan-Asian ship. So these are all the Pan-Asian commanders that I have available. It does make the most sense typically to pick a destroyer-based commander, and you can see kind of what they're assigned to based on the symbol up in the top right of their card, right? So this matches the symbol that we see up in the top left by our ship name, where it says Premium Destroyer. So typically what you want to do is assign a destroyer commander for a destroyer ship, right? So we'll hold X to set the filter, and we'll unselect all but the destroyer. You can see the little triangle symbol there. We've only highlighted that one. And then we'll push B, and that gives us the options. Now, it's not always going to only pick destroyer commanders. You do have the option, so the game kind of tries to guide you a little bit here. So you could select that cruiser commander on the far left. That's what that symbol is. But typically, you're going to want to pick a destroyer commander for a destroyer boat, right? So for the demo's sake, we'll pick this guy. I'm bad at pronouncing names, so I'm not going to try. And if you tap X here, you can go into his sort of profile, right? And see all of these things that you can choose from, right? And so since I'm a destroyers typically you have a lot of torpedoes to shoot, or that's just my playstyle, right? So I'll go through here and, you can absolutely go and read what you think you like, but I'm going to pick, some very, simple stuff that I think are good for just, in general, destroyers and torpedo boats and shooting torpedoes, right? That's what I like to do as a destroyer most of the time, right? With some exceptions, right? And then over here on the left side, you can also pick inspirations. Now this is going to work the same way. You can hold the X and filter, and I highly recommend picking the destroyer symbol when you're selecting inspirations for a destroyer commander. And then the game kind of tries to help you out and tries to pick people that will work for your destroyer commander, right? So I have a lot of commanders unlocked, so there's going to be a lot of stuff in here for me. You may only have a few, right? So you may not even need to use the filter. You can just go through and pick what you want, amongst what you have available. You can always go back and change these. There's some little bit of time consumption constraints. If you do change them, you have to, play so many games or spend some of your commander XP, which we'll talk about a little bit later too. But since I'm typically rigging out my destroyers as torpedo boats, I picked torpedo-centric inspirations, right? So we'll talk a little bit more about inspirations later as well, but that's just kind of to get us started. Now we could actually go and take this ship into battle. We've picked a commander. We've selected some options for said commander. Now we could go and do some, blow some stuff up, right? In the main menu, here is the commander tab, and we're just kind of pointing out there are several types of currency associated with upgrading your commanders, right? So they're all kind of in general highlighted there on this commander tab. It may not always be like that. This game has a tendency to change their menus around quite a bit here and there. But if you go into the commanders tab, you can cycle through all the different countries that currently have ships that you can play as, and you can see all the commanders you have, and if you haven't unlocked some yet too. Some of these guys, most of the ones that look like a real person are, typically history-inspired commanders, right? And then some of the other ones that look like, like funny characters or different characters, right, are either a specialty commander or what's called a commander Geist, which is basically just it changes the voiceover and some of the aesthetics of while you're playing, but really have no effect on the performance of that commander, right? So here's one that I haven't played with much, and so it's not leveled up hardly at all. And you can see here where the rank is, where I'm pointing. So we've had it at 7, and in order to go up to rank 8, we would have to spend some commander XP and promotion orders, which you can see over on the right side. I think once you get to rank 6, it only costs, so there's our little arrow for where the currencies are, right? But I think just up to rank 6 only costs Commander XP, which you earn from playing. You get a little bit of that every single game, right? And then your available resources are down in the bottom right there, where the finger pointing was happening, right? So you can see that I don't have enough of all of the various materials to get to rank this person up any higher than, so we're highlighting 15, 16. So 16 would be the max rank. I would need 633,000 Commander XP. I have that, but I don't have the insignias or promotion orders, right? So you need promotion orders past a certain rank, and then you need insignias to get these last couple of spots for ranking up commanders. There is also this legendary rank. This is completely separate. You do not have to get to level 16 to be able to rank up the legendary rank. You only need 1 personal commendation. I have 1 personal commendation. You can see the yellows there. The blue ones are universal ones. You can spend those on any commander. So it kind of makes sense to use, and it would make sense for me to upgrade this guy to legendary rank 1 because I have a personal commendation for him. We'll talk a little bit more about how to get those later in the video. And especially if you have somebody that you're really wanting to level up, there's some kind of cheeky ways to get that rank up that you might not be familiar with. But now we've unlocked the legendary skill. Typically for destroyers, it's going to give you choices that are typically associated with a destroyer if it's a destroyer commander, right? So there are also cruisers and battleships and have associated commanders. These are 2 of the typical choices that you get. So you can kind of look at those and see which one you would prefer. But as you can see, we only have this commander up to rank 7, and we're able to unlock the legendary perk, right? So you don't need to rank them up, all the way to 16 to unlock this and select this. My go-to for destroyers is this unstoppable option. So typically, that's what I pick, right? Now you can see to get him, so there are 4 ranks for the legendary. To get him up to rank 2, I would need 3 of those personal commendations, right? So it says I have 0, but I could use 3 of my universal ones to get this commander up to rank 2. Since I don't use this commander a lot, and by a lot, I mean I don't think I've ever used him, which is why it's making this sort of explanation easy to do, right? I am not going to spend my universal commendations for him. Those are tough to get, so I typically save those for my very favorite commanders, right? So here's another one where we've got some available personal commendations, as well as, and you can see we could rank him up, but I don't use him too much, or I don't play with the ships that he's assigned to too much, so I'm not going to spend any currency here. But if we go to the legendary rank, you'll see that it would take 7 commendations to get him up to rank 3. I do have 4, right? So it would use 4 of my commendations for him, and then it would use 3 of the universal ones to get him up to the next rank. But again, I don't want to spend my hard-earned universal blue accommodations, right? So I am not going to do that, but that's how that works. So the ultimate goal, if you have a commander that is a super-duper favorite of yours, is to get them up to rank 16 and then get their legendary rank up to rank 4. The 4th rank costs a whopping 15 commendations, right? So one of the commanders that I do use a lot is Franz von Hipper. I like his base trait. So the base trait that you see here, when you are picking inspirations, and then yes, you can see the description of what it does is over there on the right, but when you are picking inspirations for other commanders, the base trait is what transfers over to said commander that you're picking inspirations for, right? So I have other commanders where I'm using Franz von Hipper as an inspiration. So that perk also gets better as it's ranked up for those other commanders too under inspirations. So here I have enough insignias and commander XP to rank him up to 16. I'm going to do that. I, however, sadly do not have enough personal commendations. You can see I have 0 personal ones and 10 universal ones, right? 10 of the blue ones. So I would need at least 5 of the personal commendations, and then it would use the 5 personal commendations and then the 10 universal ones, and then I could max him out with a whopping level 16, legendary rank 4, baller-ass commander, right? Now, the typical way to get the personal commendations is to unlock that commander again through like a crate or something. Or one thing that I think a lot of people don't realize you can do, we're going to go into the commanders tab in the store, select Germany, and find Franz von Hipper. And if you look here, you can see over on the right, it will earn you a personal commendation if you receive a duplicate of this commander. So you can actually buy him for the global or the commander XP, that's the blue, right? And every time you do that, you will get one of those personal commendations, right? So since the blue universal commendations are so valuable, I'm actually going to buy as many personal commendations here as I can for Franz von Hipper. That way I spend the least amount of my hard-earned blue commendations, right? The blue universal ones, right? So we'll spend all of our global XP. If you're a more advanced player or play a lot, actually, not even advanced, just play a lot, you might have a lot of commander XP available to do this. If you're a newish player, that's probably not an option for you to do right now. Just play the game more. You'll earn that commander XP as you go. So now I'm going to go back to Germany in the commanders and find Franz von Hipper again. We'll scroll down to the legendary rank, and now you can see I have 10 of the personal commendations plus 10 of the universal ones. So when you go to rank him up, it's going to use all 10 of the personal commendations plus the 5 of the universal ones, right? So I'll still have 5 universal commendations left, right? But yes, so now we have Franz von Hipper all the way, maxed out to the brim. He can't get any better, at least the way the game's set up right now, right? So we're going in the store now, and I'm just going to quick go over how, and this is kind of the way this game makes money, but they do have for sale some specialty commanders. This is what's available right now at the time of making this video. So if you're watching it later, you will probably have different choices or maybe no choices. There's not, they change it up every month or so, right? So these cost doubloons, and you can earn some doubloons slowly throughout the game by just playing it. However, the easiest way to get them is to fork over some real cash, right? So a lot of times with these specialty commanders, they come with, maybe like a specialty perk here or there. I wouldn't say that it's a pay to win. It's maybe just maybe a teeny tiny slight advantage, nothing that you can't overcome from just being a good player, right? But the thing that is kind of unique is a lot of times they have a unique base trait, which if you are interested in it, if it suits your play style, you may want to use either this commander specifically or use that commander as an inspiration for some of your other builds, right? So I do have a specialty commander that I bought quite a while back, that I am trying to max out because I use her a lot. The problem here is you need the universal blue commendations because you're pretty much never going to get the personal yellow commendations for this commander because they're not a regular commander drop, right? So, and you can't go into the store and just buy them a whole bunch of times, right? So here is how, if you go into the missions tab, these are some ways you can earn some of these commander materials, right? There's a commander crate here, and these are just play the game. And then here's some of the promotion orders, right? So this is the weekly boost. This resets every week. There's also a daily boost, and there's also premium supplies. So these you have to use a specific premium ship. I may do a video about premium ships sometime in the future, but here you can see you can earn a universal commendation from doing the tier 8 premium supplies missions. There's also Commander Crate currently, and then an insignia as well for the legendaries, right? So some of those are some of the harder to earn and find materials, and so you can go and look around in these missions to see if there's anything you can do. Most of the time it's win a battle or destroy a ship or, whatever it is, right? Another way is in the campaign. So this is a thing that gets reset every few weeks. There's a new campaign and there's a new rewards that you can earn within it. And you can see there's some, either insignias or commendations right along in here. And then there is a universal commendation here, right? So the ones on the bottom row, those you can unlock just by playing the game and playing through the campaign missions. So in the missions tab, it's under the renown section. And that's how you progress through the campaign, right? So I didn't go too in depth of that, but here are more commander materials that you can earn through playing through the campaign, especially if you purchase the Admiralty backing, you'll get some extras, right? But yes, you can see there's promotion orders, insignias, and even some Commander XP, and it looks like a crate at least for the one that's current as of me making this video, right? So it'll be different sort of every time around when there's a new campaign, right? But a lot of them you'll be able to get for free just by playing through and completing those renown missions. And so I think I'll do another video in the future as well about the campaign to kind of go into that a little bit more in depth. But for now, that was just kind of where we ended for this tutorial, to try and cover as much as we could in a few minutes without being on the YouTubes for hours on end, right? So, but thank you guys so very much for watching all the way through. If you like the idea of me doing more tutorials, let me know down in the comments. Please do subscribe to the channel. If you are a new player, I do a lot of videos. In fact, right now I've been doing them every single day, where we just play a game and kind of describe what's happening, and then a lot of times I go through how I've built out the ship and the commander for that video that day, right? So thank you guys again. We will see you tomorrow.